Welcome to another episode of Saint Vincent Untold Stories. On this episode, we feature the soufriere volcano in Saint Vincent, and we also put an end to some lies being circulating around the volcano in Saint Vincent. Big ups to all of my subscribers, and if you are new to the channel, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon if you wish to see more videos like these. Some things were circulating on the media, so that when you visit the shelters, the head of the shelters often takes persons' goods. Let me just make this clear that those were allegations from several persons circulating on social media. But you see, at Untold Stories, we do our own investigation. So while visiting several shelters yesterday, I called the persons aside. I said there are some rumors circulating that when persons bring foodstuff for you are donors, the shelter manager takes them. Those persons said that is not true. Everyone I questioned said they are telling lies on the shelter managers. Persons said that the only problem they had is that sometime the food was arriving a little late. And they said they understood because the amount of persons in the shelters. Let me make something else clear. Ralph Gonsalves is not responsible for the eruption of any volcano in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The men that came in to do the geothermal project is not responsible for the eruption of any volcano in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. At Untold Stories, we did our study, and it said those geothermal projects were all around the world and none ever activated any volcano. And I said it before and I repeat it again just so you to understand the logics. There is something circulating on the media also that said Nemo said that the persons must walk with 3 days food at the shelter. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you the truth in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Poverty level is at a high and the persons are afraid to speak out. And we are in the middle of a pandemic that is making it worse. Most persons were jobless. So even if you told the persons to put up 3 days food, that would have been impossible for some. Who told you they didn't secure 3 days food? It is because of the poverty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Those foods were eaten back. Some persons are saying that I must just show the volcano. So, you don't want me to say that the World Bank gave our government $20 million in relief funding? You don't want me to ask where the big C relief money went? It just disappeared. Or you don't want me to say that our PM said before you go on to the cruise ships, you had to be vaccinated. And the news page came out and said the ship said that you don't have to be vaccinated to enter on your ship. Or you don't want me to say that one minister said you had to be vaccinated before you enter into the shelters. And then the big man came back and said you don't have to. You don't want me to talk about poverty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines because you have gotten a pull string from the government or you are employed with the government and you don't care about who is not eating. Let me make this clear. To the persons that are making donations, please remember that you are dealing with human beings. What you don't like, do not give. If you know that your products were done for a while, check them to see if they were expired. Don't just pass them off to the donors. Check for them for rat bites. I saw products that were beaten, expired products, etc. I know you want to help out, but if you are helping out, you don't give people what you don't want. So the persons in the shelter complaining about eating the same thing every day, please remember this. When you call for things like a pie, a steak, You have to remember, if you were home, you would have had the privilege to do whatever you want. And sometimes, even if you are home, you don't do these things that you are calling for. You have to take your time with the people. Most of them are doing it voluntarily. The people in foreign, they could hold their money in their pockets, but they are trying to help you out. There are several persons who have been offered rooms differently than the government shelters, and most of them are refusing to go. They are saying because of the location and so forth. And you see, this is where it comes into being delinquent and being ambitious. Long ago, when there was a lot of jobs in the Grenadines, it's the same thing. Some people said they are not going to the Grenadines because it's too far away. How can you being offered a job that could make you eat and put food on the table, and you are saying that it is too far away? You can't be a pigeon forever, because all pigeon does is just fly out, come back home, eat and feast. You have to be like the dove. You have to go out and hunt. To the persons in the green zone who said that persons had the chance to take up food or clothing and so forth. Remember, I told you what was the problem? It is because Nemo's call came late. When Desron Rodriguez gave that call in the morning, Nemo refused to evacuate the people and waited until later and said evacuation time. So now you have to scramble, you have to run. I remember I gave warnings after warnings, telling the persons the volcano is coming to full up water. They did full up water in the countryside, but this is the problem. Remember, they had to leave the water. PM, you might have to fly out the people of London, Sandiby, places like Pepper Village and so forth. Because if you put them there again, the government would keep spending money. Look at the floods destroyed there already. Every little rain come, it destroys Sandiby. So it's better you book a plane to England or somewhere and help out these people, because they can't go back there, or you provide lands for them. I went out with Troy Prince again, and I told you that you can message him on Facebook, and everyone who did was so happy. With Troy, you don't have to question accountability when it comes to his work ethics. The guy is Spartan. He does everything in the way that it should be done when it comes to donation. You want to prove accountability? Message anyone under the comment section who asked Troy for anything if they did not get it. This guy doesn't watch whether you are this supporter or that supporter. He just gives to you once you are in need. So be honest, going on these journeys, I know certain persons who can buy some items, and they usually still ask for a donation. Please, I'm telling you, there are people who really need the items. If you know you could buy, have a little sympathy, have a little courtesy. There are parents in these shelters who cannot buy Pampers, who cannot buy milk. Can you please allow them to get the stuff if you know you have the money to go to the supermarket to buy? Please. Water trucks, please take your time on the road. Today, I saw a water truck filled with water trying to overtake us. I am begging you guys, you have water on the trucks, please take your time. The water is very valuable right now. They made it official that anyone found in the red zone would be arrested. Can we have some clarity on that, please, Nemo? Because when you said anyone found in the red zone, right now there are people still living in the red zone. And how could you account for how much people is in the red zone presently? How do you know who went up to the red zone last night and settled the night before and settled, or who was there like several days before? Another question, why persons didn't want to go on the ship? Oh my. You wanted me to talk about the volcano? Sandy may mash up. Parts of Georgetown mash up. Parts of Leeward mash up. So, Orange Hill mash up. So if that $20 million is not spent correctly, the place would remain the mash up. Or just some person's house would get fixed and the rest would leave. Catching there is... If every time someone calls out our leaders for mismanagement of funds and you stay there and you remain silent, well, you have to know where your next meal is coming from. If you don't want to stand up for your right, imagine being inside of a shelter. A party supporter gets a portion of that $20 million. Same damage or even worse happened to your house. But because you are not a party supporter, you get nothing. First, they can't come for me because I'm not on any side. I'm just talking it as I see it. When these politicians go home, opposition are ruling. They know where their big meals are coming from. Or do you know where yours is coming from? I leave you with these clips. See if the PM is telling the truth or not. Judge for yourselves.
You go to an evacuation center, you will also be vaccinated. This is not a drill and it is not voluntary. And we'll be vaccinating persons once they enter a government operated shelter. And I want that to be very clear to persons as well. You go to an evacuation center, you will also be vaccinated. This is not a drill and it is not voluntary. And we'll be vaccinating persons once they enter a government operated shelter. And I want that to be very clear to persons as well.
For people to enter shelters, they must be vaccinated. Is that dictate that has come from your office?
That's not true.
That's not true?
When you enter the shelter, you don't have to be vaccinated. That's not true. There's absolutely no requirement for anybody who is entering the camps, entering the shelters, to be.
You see, Gonzalez?
Got the cruise ship thing?
The cruise ship. People say that they did not tell the people to take no vaccine. They said it. That they didn't tell the people to take no vaccine. That you is the one that they need to. Anybody come on board need to take that.
For you.